morning. Good morning. Welcome to Detroit Black and White, our Saturday morning edition. Uh, Today we have on deck Allan Lengel,
Hello.
Deadline Detroit,
Hello.
formerly worked for the Washington Post, right?
And Detroit News.
And Detroit News. Okay. What's up? And the host of the week that was.
The week that was. Well, I'm not the host, but I'm part of it.
No, that was ice cream.
Okay, then we got a lot of co-hosts that's coming into the building here at the Shade. And we also have Mr.
Morning. They left in front of us.
Firestarter, Mr. Education, Mr.
I know.
Eric Brown. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning. I'm looking Firestarter, a movie starring a female. So, yes.
And you also have yours truly, Vanessa Moss. Yay! Y'all supposed to clap for me. Y'all supposed to clap for me. Yep. So Adolph is not here today, but we do have a guest that's supposed to be coming, Marc D'Andre, 7 MileRadio. But before he gets here, we're going to give a shout out to those that have joined us on Facebook, YouTube, and any of the other social media platforms. We want you to hit that like button. We want you to subscribe and share. Hit that like button, subscribe, share. Tell your friends about the greatest show on YouTube, the greatest show on all of the social media platforms, Detroit and Black and White. All right, we're going to start off with outrage of the week. Who wants to go first? You go. We'll go.
All right. I don't really have an outrage. I just want to say I'm looking forward to some of the races that we have in the city, and the mayor's race, the governor's race in the state, the U.S. Senate race. We're slowly seeing them kind of shape up, and I'm not really sure what. I'm curious what the real issues are going to be. I'm not sure that we've seen it, really in the city. I mean, we've tried to shape some of the issues on education and stuff like that, but I haven't really gotten a strong sense of what the prevailing issue is or issues here in the city, besides the basic, like we want to develop the neighborhoods more and stuff like that. But I don't see any specific plans. And same thing with the governor's race. It's early. The U.S. Senate race, I think they're trying to figure out who's going to be in there. And I think the other thing is it's going to be interesting. I mean, I don't think Duggan has to remain an independent if he decides he wants to shift, but I think he's the guy who's constantly evaluating, and I wouldn't be shocked at some point if he sees that he has a better shot in the Democratic slot that he might switch over, but we'll see.
Well, you know what? What's interesting is she says some of the issues on this show, we've tried to frame some of the issues. One of our viewers who has several businesses in the city and outside of the city of Detroit, one of the things that he's brought to the attention, and he's gone down to the water board, and there are other business owners that's really pissed off, is these drainage fees, right? And so, I mean, in the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, apparently the bill is an estimate, right, as opposed to what the actual fee is. But when you're talking about drainage fees and you don't have good curb appeal where the water can drain off, and you're talking about rain, you're talking about water that's coming from the sky, that is really ridiculous. But that issue is gaining a lot of traction among business owners. And it's going to be very interesting to see what these mayoral candidates have to say about that, because if you're talking about growing the city and having a resurgence, one of the ways that you're going to have people leave is doing that. What is also really interesting about this issue is that in the other cities, they don't have those drainage fees. It's only here in the city of Detroit.
Well,
that is crazy. So if you want to drive people out of the city, if you want to drive businesses out of the city, you continue on that trajectory and see what happens.
Right. And I'm going to say that one of the things, I mean, the drainage fee, obviously, the infrastructure in every community, Detroit and the suburbs, and we saw that years ago in Royal Oak, Huntington Woods, there were basement floodings. Nobody does anything about infrastructure until bridges collapse, till sewage systems fail, because it's always the last thing that people want to spend money on. It's like, the dentist might tell you have a problem here, you're having a cavity, you should get it filled. And you're like, can I wait? And they say, yeah, you can wait. And that's sort of the way the infrastructure is. People are always like, can we wait another 10 years? Yeah, we should be okay. And then we have disasters.
Well, how do you justify these fees only for Detroiters? You had the Great Lakes Authority, which is Macomb County, Wayne County, Oakland County. How do you justify these fees just for Detroit businesses?
Is it just Detroit?
It's just Detroit. That's what they're saying. It's just the Detroit. So if you own a business in Detroit, you own a business in Livonia. Livonia is not getting charged those fees, and we have a Great Lakes Water Authority. That is crazy. That is insane. But I think that is one of the issues.
But the question is,
yeah.
The Great Lakes Water Authority, then we have the Detroit Sewerage. Is that separate though?
So from what I understand, that it is not separate. I don't know because I don't own a business. All I know is that people are really talking about it now. As a matter of fact, somebody that has a show heard this businessman talking about it. He got text messages from some political people who said, you know what, you did a very good presentation.
Right.
But I understand that another show has covered this issue as well. So that's going to be an issue, I think, when in this mayoral race. And, there's another issue that we can talk about when Marc D'Andre gets here. Okay, Eric, go ahead, do your outrage.
Well, my outrage, and good morning, Queen B. Appreciate the comment. But my outrage is this. America. Black, white, green, purple, blue, yellow, does not matter. The situation in Frisco, Texas, involving Carmelo Anthony, not the basketball player, and Austin Metcalf, it need not be a racial issue. We are divided enough as a country when it comes to race. And until all the facts are out, we need to chill, because making it or having it be a racial issue, even amongst the Black people. And I put a post out there this morning. What we need to understand is, just recently here in the Detroit area, a Black woman was allegedly abducted and killed by her Black boyfriend. A Black man allegedly killed his ex-girlfriend, her 9-year-old niece, and her mom, all Black females. And just recently, you had, Mark is going to be talking about that when he comes in, you have a 17-year-old Black female that was last seen with her 23-year-old Black boyfriend. So if you want to get outraged about something, America, and all three of these stories have hit the national news. So you won't get outraged about something, particularly Black America, be consistent with the outrage. Because at the end of the day, comparing what happened in Texas to Emmett Till, Trayvon Martin, and Kyle Rittenhouse is misguided. At the end of the day, wait till the facts come out.
Can you explain a little bit more about the Texas case?
What happened in Texas is that two kids, allegedly, two kids got into a beef, I think a week or two before the actual death took place. So they were at a track meet. There was some inclement weather, and Carmelo Anthony went up under a tent because of the inclement weather. He went up under the tent of the opposing school with regards to where Austin Metcalf went. And they had just had an issue a week or two before. And allegedly, Carmelo said to Austin, if you touch me, because allegedly, Austin beat him up the week before. So he said, if you touch me, see what happens. So he touched him. Then he said, I won't touch you, I'll punch you. He said, you punch me, see what happens. He retaliated by what was thought to be a knife. Turns out it was a cleat scraper for track and field, cleaning as well as scraping your cleats to make them sharper. But at the end of the day, a weapon is a weapon. You can't say that because someone originally was said they used a 9mm, turned out to be a ghost gun, still was a gun to kill someone. So the cleat scraper was the weapon of choice.
So let me ask you this, Eric. Are you saying, because I want to make sure that I'm clear, are you saying that this is not a race issue or should not be a race issue?
And I think America has made it a race issue.
Okay, because I
You
was
know.
wondering if you heard in several interviews that the father has done, and he's definitely made it a race issue.
Right, and not just that, people,
as
people,
opposed to, I thought, I was like, your son is gone, and this is what we doing.
right, and not
This
just
is
that,
what we doing.
to say that Carmelo was a 3.7 student, he saved someone's life when he was 14, he lived in a 2-parent household. Okay, being benevolent is the thing to do. You see somebody in a stressful situation, you save them. Being in a 2-parent household, I mean, okay, I don't give anybody a pat on the back for living in a 2-parent household. That's the norm. But to also have good grades, okay, you're supposed to go to school and get good grades. So it's like, come on, we people keep moving the needle.
Who's black and who's white?
Carmelo Anthony is the black young man. Austin Metcalf is the white young man. And to your point, Vanessa, both sides are making it a race issue. The parents of Carmelo Anthony, as well as the parents of Austin Metcalf, are making it a racial issue because the minute that Black Lives Matter got involved with regards to being a spokesman or spokesperson for Carmelo Anthony, it became a race issue by some of the comments they made. So it's a race issue, it has become a race issue on both points. My point is, we have more important issues to be facing as a country, as races, than to make this situation a racial issue.
But I think race plays a part unfortunately, in this country. I mean, in an ideal world, you're absolutely correct here. But you and I know that race plays in every facet of our life.
True, but Vanessa, I'm just asking my people to be consistent.
You talk about education all the time, right? Race is definitely an issue when we're talking about the disparity in education. When we're talking about crime, race is an issue, and when you talk about the disparity in treatment of those that come in contact with the criminal justice system, something we talked about last week. So race is always an issue. I just found it very interesting that a father who has lost his son, right, and under very tragic circumstances. I don't know if you listened to his interviews, but he sounded very calm to me. He sounded very calm. And to throw this whole race thing out, I'm like, dude, are you serious? You done lost your kid.
Why
but he's paying it to the mob mentality.
Why? I mean, when people are angry, why would you be surprised that they would go to the most base feelings?
I'm glad that you said the most base feelings. That's how you feel about black folks.
Well, look, it's well. Let me ask you something. I mean, if it were reversed and the white kid killed the black kid, the black parent might say, get down to some feelings.
Well, I think the black parents were saying that the decedent was a bully.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
I'm just saying.
I'm not talking about the issues.
In Texas, right?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the issues, but I'm talking about the guttural feeling that somebody has. It's like it's always instinctive. Look,
So if I slap the out of you, right? If I decide that I'm gonna just slap you, are you gonna say that black?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not.
right.
But you know what? Look, America.
I knocked all your teeth out and your glasses
I
off your face.
say thank you very much. But I'm
but
not
your
saying.
gut issue. I mean, your gut.
I'm not saying
reaction would probably
everybody.
be that.
I'm not saying everybody would act like it, but it wouldn't be unusual for some people to react that way.
And they made it. I mean,
Queen
the
Bee
pulse
said,
of
yes, you will.
the pulse, but still, the pulse of America. The pulse of America at the present time and the mob mentality is why it has become more of a race issue than it needs to have become.
Well, I think race plays is an issue all the time. So I want to introduce our guest, Mr. Johnny Come Lately, Marc D'Andre, 7 Mile Radio.
How you doing? How you doing? Good morning.
Listen,
Good morning.
I don't know if you want to get in there. I have not done my outrage yet. Eric just did his outrage. I don't know if you want to weigh in, if you want to do your outrage, because there's some things that we want to talk to you about.
Okay. Just right off the top of my head, I guess I would say my outrage is the high volume of missing kids that we continue to have out here in the streets, and it seeming to be an issue at home. There seeming to be the core reason why they are running away or coming quote missing.
Mhm.
So I think that's what I'm outraged about, because I get a lot. So like way too many people contacting me about missing people, missing children, and it seems that it could be something done at home proactively to help prevent these things from happening, as opposed to waiting until it happened and jumping reactive about it. So that's kind of what I'm outraged about. Like, what are y'all doing at home, or what are you not doing at home that's causing these kids to run away?
Right.
Can you move the microphone a little closer to you?
Right.
We'll do.
So I have to read this comment. It said, Vanessa, if he slapped you back to witnesses, it would appear that the white man had slapped the black woman. True. Very, very true.
Mark, can you explain? I'm fascinated by the 7 Mile Radio thing. Can you explain that a
Hold
little?
on one second before
you
you do it. I haven't done my
I'm sorry. Don't slap me.
I'm going to slap this dog snot out of you. Oh, before I do my outrage, let me say this. The comments of the individuals that sit on this panel belongs to those individuals. As a woman, I don't want anybody to think that I subscribe to anyone calling women bees, okay? And even though I was laughing uncontrollably last night with Adolph's commentary, his commentary belongs to him. I don't call women bees, and I don't think it's cool to call women bees, but in the context of which he was talking last night, right. Lady T is weighing in on the background. It was hilarious last night. Now, going to he was funny as heck last night. He's funny a lot. Most times he's funny. He has it cracking up. So my outrage is this: I was on social media, and there is on Fox News in California, in Los Angeles. The story is that Los Angeles is because Los Angeles is the city where you make movies and stars are made. You talk about Hollywood and all of that. That they're afraid that Los Angeles is now going to look like Detroit because they're losing. Yeah, because people are moving out and they're exploring other options, other areas to film movies and actors and things like that. Now, listen, you could have done the story and leave Detroit out of that. We're in the middle of, as they say, a comeback, although I say we've never gone anywhere. But with people beating up on Detroit like that, I am outraged. Bump you, because Adolph would say, what would he say?
Fuck Los Angeles.
Right. Bump you. I think that is, really, seriously, that is outrageous that they would do something.
You know
like
what?
that.
You know what it is?
It's pissed me off.
I understand. I mean, look, the narrative has been, the old narrative of Detroit is that Detroit lost a lot of manufacturing and people moved out, and that, after the rebellion or riot, whatever you want to call it, people were continuing to flee the suburb, black and white. But Detroit has made, at least in certain parts, a resurgence, and people don't recognize that. They just recognize that Detroit declined for a long time, lost a lot of manufacturing jobs, and it was a one industry town. Right. And like Hollywood, LA is, the industry out there. So I think the comparison, but it's unfair to Detroiters now where they don't see Detroit 2025.
I was about to say, I look at it as the cup half full as opposed to half empty. If they say that they're moving other places, that's more opportunity for places like Detroit,
right?
To thrive. And it's kind of been a monopoly as far as the movie industry in regards to LA and the production studios being out there, right? It was a big thing when Tyler Perry started his own film studio in what was it, Atlanta or something like that? So I think it's a good thing. And for them to say, oh, well, it's going to be like Detroit, it reminds me of the comment that Donald Trump made when they said the country is going to be like Detroit, right? And if you look at Detroit right now, Detroit is doing good. So, I mean, was it a good thing or a bad thing that they compared it to Detroit and where we are now? So, I mean, I look at it half full. So, yeah, just like with everybody leaving LA, there's plenty of opportunity there to grow after all of the saturation leaves. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, people looking at it, I think, from the right now perspective, as opposed to looking at it with a visionary's lens and seeing the future of it.
But I think they also looking at it, with regards to the comparison is manufacturing and the movie industry, because they're not talking about the people. Because you go to LA, I don't know who's been there recently. There are not a lot of Black people in LA to begin with. So I think people have to look at the big picture. They're comparing industries, not the status of the two cities.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I get that. I got that. But the fact of the matter is this. Whenever they mention Detroit, you already know it's always negative. Period. The end. People are not as bright as you are, as we are. People will listen to that soundbite and take it as a negative. Okay, they won't look at it the way that Mark look at it, the way you, Eric, and I, and Allan look at it. So that is why I'm outraged. Okay?
But I'll say that the narrative is
Because it was taken as it was supposed to be a diss. They said it as a diss. Right?
It was a diss, absolutely.
But the narrative in Detroit now is, I mean, the New York Times is constantly writing positive things. Detroit is showing up in top 25 cities in the world to visit for vacation, which we never really thought of ourselves as a vacation destination. So Detroit, I think the narrative has changed. I mean, some people are still ignoring that narrative. Some people go, "Oh my God, Detroit!" But a lot of people. I was in LA in 2023. And I was in an Uber car, and the guy's like, "Where are you from?" I'm Detroit. And he's like, "Man, Detroit." He was a musician. He goes, "I really want to go to Detroit. I really heard great things about it." So I think the narrative, some people just haven't caught up with the narrative, but the narrative has definitely changed.
So some of our viewers says, like Dwayla, good morning, Dwayla. She says, well, movie maker like 50 Cent are taking making movies in other places. Marlon Holt says, shout out to Jim. Thanks, Marlon. I was looking for you last night. Early Story says Detroit has agriculture. It's where you go to cities where residents who own homes near metropolitan areas. Timothy Squire Bay said, good morning. It's the media who's always making things a lot. I think this is that score. B13, Detroit had movies made here 10 years ago until the governor reportedly stepped in and canceled the incentives. Train 05 says, good morning, everybody. And they said, hey, what up, though, Eric? So we're going to go to you, Mark. I'm going to go right back to Allan because you started off with a question. I cut you off because I want to do my outrage. So I'm going back to you so you can ask him his question.
I'm fascinated by being in the media. I'm fascinated by your 7 Mile Radio. Kind of tell us about that and how you got into it and who's your audience and where you broadcast this on, what platforms are you using?
7 Mile Radio started in 2007 when I graduated from Space House for radio, TV broadcasting. Went back in 2009 for web and graphic design. So I started my own independent, at the time, online radio station. And it kind of evolved into a podcast network. It evolved into an independent news platform. So now it's kind of all three combined. I started off doing being an independent journalist, just covering things that was going on in the entertainment scene in the city, and then it just kind of expanded into the community and what's going on in the community. So,
and what kind of reporting are you actually on the ground interviewing people and
a little of everything, from breaking news stories, whether it be a car accident, a fire, they're on the scene, interviewing the people that may be involved with some of these incidents. And even just at some of these demonstrations that's going on in the community.
Are you on call 24/7?
Pretty much. I get called for kids wandering around in the street at Coney Island at 2:00 in the morning. I get called for somebody's light bulb went out, right? The refrigerator, the stove. They need the orkin man. I mean, I don't know what kind of problem it is. Yeah, man. Cats, stray dogs. Somebody called me because their dog was murdered by other dogs in Highland Park, and they wanted me to patrol the neighborhood to find the dogs that murdered her dog. So I mean, it's all kind of stuff.
And where can people?
Facebook and YouTube, 7 Mile Radio, or you can find my page, Marc D'Andre Live, is where a lot of my independent journalism comes from.
And you break some stories sometimes? Or you go first?
Sometimes, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it was just
absolutely.
one, maybe last night that I was on the scene of. There was an unfortunate situation where there was a hit and run. A lady was hit off of a scooter and ended up losing her life. So she was right there on Grand Boulevard last night. So that was the latest story that I just covered this last night. And then, I helped put the information out about the man. There's so many missing girls. Man, I can't remember. London Thomas. London Thomas.
The other one out of
One
Westland.
time, that's Inkster.
Yeah,
Inkster,
Inkster.
yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead, talk
because one
about
of
that
my-
because we're gonna ask you about that.
Yeah, one of my partners on my platform is a family member of hers. So I've been getting a lot of information about that as far as what's going on. And yeah, it's just another leaning towards sad story out here.
And are you generating revenue from this, or is this sort of
Well, I mean, yeah, ad revenue. I have sponsors, West Coast Meds, and a couple of other people that pay for ads on my platform, and then the little monetization from the social media platforms. And then the majority of my support comes from donations from my listening audience.
and how do people donate to you?
Cash App, PayPal, Zelle. I mean, all of those type of platforms. Apple Pay. I have a GoFundMe. They signed up to my Patreon. People signed up to subscribe to my Facebook page. Yeah, so there's plenty of different ways. My merchandise store.
Right.
Different ways.
So, Mark, I'm going to ask you a question. One of our viewers want to know what part of 7 Mile are you from? East Side. Go ahead, Andrew.
7 Mile of Van Dyke.
Okay,
Yep,
East Side.
Yep.
Okay. But I want to ask you about a story that Lisa L. Carter put on her page, and then you reposted it
Mhm.
about the scammers over at that doggone gas station.
Man.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, when I posted that, I'm seeing at least 3 or 4 other people that said the same thing
So
happened to
tell
them.
our viewers what's going on at the gas
Well-
station, and tell them where the gas station is, and I want to weigh in on this
I want to
because
say Warren and Southfield. I can't remember exactly the
Yeah,
intersection.
I
after.
tell you.
Yes,
Find
sir.
out.
Yeah, one of them.
Warren and Southfield. So the lady went in and she made a transaction on her EBT card. And then maybe she said 10 minutes later, a transaction was made for the remaining duration of the money that was on her card. So per se, if she had $177 left on her card when she left, she had a transaction for exactly that amount taken off of her card from the
Right.
same location. So,
Right.
so it must be like a skimmer, either that or the clerks know how to do whatever they need to do to.
But what's so outrageous is she went in there and said, "Hey, I got this discrepancy." The guy told her she was a liar.
Yep. Even
Basically
with the
told
proof.
her to get out the store. And again, we talked about this before, and I kind of got, some people push back. These people come into communities and they think they can treat people any kind of way.
Yep.
She had an EBT card. We could take advantage of it. But what's really foul about that, not only was he disrespectful to her, in the comments, there was other people he did the same thing to. They called the state, and guess what? Nothing. No results. So you got money on an EBT card to get food, right? You tell them that somebody that the state has paid allowed them to have this machine in their business, okay? And we're taxpayers. You allow them to have this machine in their business, and you basically telling them, so what, they disrespect.
But let you
So
sell
what, they can scam.
your
But
food stamp card to your family member who maybe
Absolutely.
they're going to come. The caseworkers will come shut your account down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or they investigating you and you legitimately buying food with the EBT card.
Yep.
But you allow people like that to get away with it. No answers, nothing. I think that now you talk about outrageous, that is outrageous.
See, Queen B brings up an interesting point. She's saying Detroit, the attitude is black people can be treated any type of way. And I'm not sure if I shared the story here before. I know when I had my podcast, I talked about it. I was over at the Shell gas station at Chrysler and Mack. And
I think we shut that one down before.
yeah, matter of fact, yeah. And so it was
Which
a
one again?
Shell
Mac-
gas station
Mac
across the street from the
75.
Mac 75,
Right
across the street from McDonald's.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was in there one day and I saw the non-American treat the customers like crap.
How you know he
And I
wasn't
said-
American?
Because I know he wasn't American.
Did you ask him?
His name wasn't Leroy, let's put it that way. And at the end of the day, he treated the customer so bad. I said something. So he said to me, I guess he didn't know how I roll. It's none of your business. I said, yes, it is my business because you are coming to the community. This store is the only resort for a lot of people in this neighborhood. And these are your customers. And to think that you can treat them any type of way, these same customers can leave. So I went out there and told the people that are pumping gas, stop pumping your gas. Because this man does not give a damn about our people.
And that
If some
revolution
did,
is not televised.
no, I wouldn't tell about it. Some people stop pumping their gas and they bounce because you just can't treat people any type of way. And that's how these stores are doing.
At a liquor store right here on 7th Van Dyke, a Latin liquor store. I go in and there's a young sister in there with a young kid, maybe her daughter, and it's raining outside, pouring down raining, and she's in there waiting for a ride. So I just so happened to walk in just in time enough to hear the clerk cussing her out, telling her to get the hell out of my store. You can't wait on no ride. This is not. I'm gonna call the police. You trespass. You loitering. Right, and this is a young girl and a baby. So I politely said, man, I will burn this damn store the fuck down. Right, this girl is waiting on a ride. She's not loitering. She's not bothering her business. Right. She's not a homeless person out here asking for change, and she got a child with her. Do you know how much money we spend in this store in this community? I will personally burn this store down tonight. Okay.
We don't want you commit no crime, sir.
That's what I said to him.
But this is the thing. You have viewers in here saying, contact Dana. I hope Terry McCrimmon said he hopes that Dana Nessel is aware. Someone else said contact. Listen, from what I understand, they did make contact with those agencies and nothing has been done. Listen, and Mark, you can say this. You can testify to this. Usually they don't do anything until there's a whole lot of people complaining about it.
Or go viral on social media.
That's where I'm going. They see it on social media and they see people commenting about it. Then they get on it. But the fact of the matter is, listen, I am a consumer. I am a client. I have been wrong. I'm not the only person that's been wrong. And for you to say nothing,
I have a question. Yes. I agree with everything you're saying, but the question is, yes, the community can do something about it, but when you complain to the Attorney General, I don't know that there's any law that says you can't be rude to your customers.
We're not talking about rude. I'm talking about the way that they're skimming these people with their EBT card.
Well, yeah, if there's some fraudulent stuff going on,
then yes. And it goes on to being disrespectful. No, I agree with you. What you can do is what Eric said is, listen, I'm not going to support your business. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of times, a lot of these places, listen, we have a food desert here in the city of Detroit. We don't have a lot of markets and grocery stores.
And they know that, and they take advantage of it.
Exactly. So people go to the gas station and they buy bread, they buy milk, they buy the things that they need. And while I'm here, I'm going to pump gas. The fact that he has an EBT card tells me that people are going in there buying groceries at the store.
So y'all remember back in the day when the gas stations sold gas?
Yes.
Right now it's like Walmart. You can get a T-shirt, a ski mask. You go in there and get
their little supermarket.
It's a convenience store.
Right.
Yeah, they make more money off everything in the gas station than they do off gas, and they tell you.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but they tell
that's
you
their
That's where they make the money. They make the money off the gas.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so, I'll say this: sometimes I go into some of those stores. They're rude to me, and I don't know. They're not always so friendly to me.
Well, they don't care anything.
Is that why they rude to you?
Right.
They rude to anybody.
They don't care about nothing but the dollar.
Yeah, they don't care about the dollar. They rude to anybody.
And Marlon Ho said he saw over corner store drama. Stop shop and stop going. Shop online. You know what? I get it, Marlon, but some people can't. Some people can't afford it. Listen, this woman had an EBT card, and like I said, in those comments, did you see there was other people who had the same experience? And so for the state, basically, to say nothing, that is a huge problem. Because like you said, then you go after somebody who allowed a family member to use the EBT card to buy food. But it's
You know what
okay
it
for
is
them to take money,
because
right?
they're still getting paid when they scam you when they through the skimmer, but they're not getting money when you make that transaction off you selling that bridge card, those dollars off the bridge card. So
Yeah.
that's the reason why they have a problem. They want it. Oh, well, we making money. It's fine. They can scam you all they want, but if you making money off of it, oh no, we got a problem. With it.
Mark, do you just cover 7 Mile or the whole city or
No,
parts of
I
the
mean,
city?
it's,
Or
yeah, everywhere. I kind of relate that to if you knew the name. Reason why TMZ is called TMZ. It's called the abbreviation is 30 miles off. It was a media company created to cover the 30-mile radius of Hollywood. So same thing with 7 Mile Radio. We started on 7 Mile, but I do a lot more than just 7 Mile.
So would you go to the west side? Or?
I mean, yeah, I've been in Ypsilanti.
You've been in Ypsilanti?
Yeah, I've been.
He goes everywhere.
Okay.
Macomb County. He goes everywhere. So tell us about some of your other top stories.
Shoot, where do I start? Where do I even start? It's so many of them. We got shoot. Like the one that I'm working really right now is, we're waiting on to get the results of that London Thomas case out there in Easton. And then, there is probably 4 homeless women right now out in the city of Detroit that have inboxed me that's living in their cars. That's another one that I'm, a couple of stories that I'm about to tackle, try to get these sisters some help.
That's something because I heard on the radio yesterday, it was Mason and I don't know who the lady is with him, but they were talking about the people that are unhoused and they have some idea to open up these boarded up buildings, the schools, and they are trying to get people to donate. They want at least they said that there's 4,000 churches in the city of Detroit. And if at least half of them will commit to giving $500, that's $1 million that they could use to be able to help these people that are unhoused. But you have I deal with the unhoused population. There are some people who'd rather be in jail because at least they get 3 hots in a cot because they don't have anywhere else to go. Okay. But we do have to do something about the unhoused population.
Yeah, that's between that and the missing kids, that's been, I want to say 85% of what's been coming across my desk.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's overwhelming. I just don't know what to do with a lot of these cases. I had to just kind of take a breather for a minute.
Is there a common thread with the missing children? Did you see any common
abuse in the household or just delinquency, juvenile delinquency? Right? They don't want to abide by the rules. It's one of those two things. It's some type of abuse that they're running from, or some type of discipline that they're running from.
Are you able to actually track down any of these kids?
Last year, I helped recover 2 of them. One of them that was missing, she went missing from the Kroger, I believe, on 10 Mile in Hoover, and we recovered her over on the east side near 7 Mile and Mile, and
Mark, did I read the story from you or did I read it somewhere else? Where there was a young lady who was from Alabama or something like that.
Oh my God! Yeah, that was Lord have mercy.
Her mother. Tell the viewers about that. That was so crazy because she was being pimped out, right?
Well, we don't know if she was actually being pimped out or if it was a cover up about it or what. Because she supposedly came up here with friends of the family. She allegedly got separated with them when she met somebody at a gas station. And when she went back to meet the people she went to the gas station with, her friends of the family she came up here with, they were gone. So she ended up missing for a whole month. And then I guess so many details, I can't remember everything. But she said that she didn't want to.
Yeah, I remember. I read the whole thing.
Yeah, she was at a hotel, and her family. She said that she didn't want to go back down there to her family because there was abuse in that household. Right. So it was just a crazy situation.
Yeah, CPS got in contact with her mom.
CPS got in contact with her mom. I don't know if she actually came back up here to get her. From last time I checked, she did not. She was supposed to.
And even with the London Thomas, I mean, her boyfriend, 23 years old. I'm not sure how old he was when they started dating.
16.
But she's 17.
He was 16 when he started dating her.
No,
she was 16.
She was 16. He was 23, I believe. Yeah. So that was the question that was raised. So, okay, if the family knew they were talking, they just okayed this older man talking to the young daughter like that. So,
But you know what? Even if the parents were okay with her dating an older guy, that's still I don't think that the spotlight should be on them because this girl is missing. They didn't agree to her
being missing,
coming up missing, and it's been what? How many days now?
I want to say almost over a week. It's been
Over a week. And so I'm praying that things work out well. But when it goes on this long, listen, it's not. It doesn't look too. It's been 2 weeks. It doesn't look so great. So we could point the finger. You could say, well, why was she dating him in the first place? But guess what? She could have been dating somebody that's 17 years old. We had a case, and the same thing could have happened. So the fact of the matter is, listen, she left to go with this guy. I think they questioning him. I think he's a person of interest. I think the guy is. I think I read that.
This is the second time that he was taken into custody along with, I believe, his grandmother. I don't know if his mother was the third person, but it was 3 people, 2 women, along with him that was taken into custody after they raided the house Thursday, I believe.
Right.
Thursday.
Did they find some?
They said they found, I don't know, well, they said they found evidence in the house, but
Right.
I got intel that what they found out in the field is really what they're investigating.
Yeah. So hopefully they will be able, the family will be able to get some closure. It may not be good closure, but hopefully they will be able to. But I don't think this is the time for people to be making this judgment call about how old the guy was that she was dating. Okay, I really don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's just, people are gonna ask questions, right? And then when you peel the layers of the onion back, it's like, okay, where do we start at trying to fix this problem? It's like, okay, when we go back, she was dating an older man, a dude that was probably too old for her to be dating. So that's what a lot of people are focusing on.
Right, that would be common, nature for people to question the lack of anyone not saying anything, because I'm not sure if they knew how old she was. Well, based on one of these last night, that's one of the comments made by the mom of the boyfriend. She said last night on the news that I guess there was an issue about pregnancy, possible pregnancy and all that. She said on the news that the family wasn't saying anything when she announced she was pregnant. So I mean, it's a lot of layers we don't know.
And then there was a comment, and it's not the victim blame or anything, but one of the people said that, well, I used to work with this girl, and she used to lie about her age to the guys that came in and they tried to talk to her. So.
And that's very common. I was once a girl. I'm a woman now, but my friends and I have somebody that I'm closely related to who at 14 was talking to somebody much older than her, and she lied about her age. That's what girls do. I'm not trying to justify it, but that's the reality. Yeah. So, we don't know what she told.
Still, as guys, at the end of the day, a 14-year-old can have a woman body, but all it takes is her open up her mouth. You know how young she is.
Yeah.
Mark, you've been doing this 7 Mile Radio since for how long?
Yeah, almost 19 years now.
19 years. And you've been out in the community. Have you seen a change at all in the police department? When you started 19 years ago and today, do you have a different opinion of the police department one way or another?
Yeah and no. Since I've been able to, I guess I don't want to say work closer with them, but just work close to them. I was saying like that, and getting to know some of them, and them getting to know me. I do have a heightened level of respect for a certain corner of the police, right? But I do still see a lot of corruption and a lot of wrong on their part.
When you say corruption, what type of things? I know we used to see a lot during the drug years where
that's what I immediately went to. It was like, in my neighborhood, I see a lot of taking of property and money and stuff that they're not reporting, and even just how they treat people. Let's just talk about the surface of it. How they treat people when they conducted traffic stops or random stops at gas stations and whatnot. I just see the video where a young brother was beat up real bad by the police, where he reached out and called for his father, who was a detective, on the police force. And that was another big story that I covered actually. And he I don't know if it was justified or not, but it was alleged that he had a gun and he was not complying with the police. But then his aunt called and said that he didn't have a gun. He was actually retrieving a purse for one of the young ladies who was in the gas station in the car with him. So the police took it out of context and did what they did. So it's just a lot of misuse of power.
Yeah, we're gonna go back and cover two things. One of our viewers, Marlon Cole, asked about a story that I wasn't familiar with. Eric and I looked it up, so Eric is going to take the lead on this on a case in Texas.
Yeah, so back in May of 2022, there was an altercation similar to the situation of a couple of weeks ago with Austin and Carmelo, where you had a white kid by the name of Kason Allison. And he was accused of murdering Joe Ramirez in the bathroom at a school. And he was arrested, 18 years old at the time. And the similarities with regards to this case is just amazing because he killed the other student who was a Hispanic student. He was arrested, a $1 million bond. And the point is, one of the comments from Marlon about the lack of outrage then versus now. I'm not saying it has a lot to do with the political climate in this country that is making things the way they are right now, because these two situations are very eerily similar. And again, the white kid killed a Hispanic and there was no outrage. He got a $1 million bond, no outrage. Carmelo initially got a $1 million bond. There was this amount of outrage was, ridiculous. I mean, at the end of the day, you had two teenagers that got into whatever, and there's not what resulted in their beef between Allison and Joe is not in this story, but it's so similar. And you see the outcomes with regards to how people are reacting to it or how people did not react to it 3 years ago versus now.
Well, I'm going to go back to what I said. Race matters. How deep your pockets are matters. And again, with these cases, we only get a snapshot of what is actually going on. We don't have the benefit of having discovery and seeing what was said, what the witness said that they saw, or anything like that. But based upon what you read in that article that you read, and based upon what we've seen with Carmelo Anthony, I still say that race matters and race does play an issue, and how much money you have plays an issue. I don't think poverty should ever, ever, ever be a barrier to you and justice. Okay.
But someone just made a comment about they being black and why should they have been outraged 3 years ago? I mean, at the end of the day, a kid got killed. So you either outraged about a kid being killed, regardless of race and anything like that, you outraged or you're not. People not outraged about. We just talked about the situation. Well, we just talked about the situation with the young lady in Inkster. People not outraged about that. How about the situation about a man that killed a mom, a niece, and his ex-girlfriend? You're not outraged about that. Those are like, so I'm like, come on, we can't pick and choose and move the goalposts above what the hell we outraged about.
The reality is that you said we can't. The reality is that we do, and we can't.
Well, that's the unfortunate part about it. That's the unfortunate part about it.
That is the reality. Another thing. Go ahead.
A little bit of a non sequitur, but I'm curious. You went to Specs Howard. I don't know if it's still open anymore or. I know the owner.
So they relocated to the inside of the Lawrence Tech building. But I did hear that they were supposed to be moving back to Southfield. I don't know if they had already.
And would you recommend that people go the route that you went in your career?
Yeah, I want to go back to Specs Howard again for the third time. I want to, it's a real hands-on school. You learn like the first week that you get there. It's not centered around book theory. It's centered around hands-on experience. As soon as you get out of the
practical,
you have the skills that you need to get
to work. Affordable? Is it affordable?
Yeah, I guess even if considering school, right?
School's not cheap,
right? It's not cheap. Yeah. So, but yeah, and then I guess with your ability to generate revenue after you get out of there is worth it.
Yeah.
So I want to address a couple of comments. One of our viewers sent me a text and said, "Hey, you are delusional about what Detroit looks like." He said, "Go on YouTube and look at those videos of what Detroit really is," because he's responding to my outrage about Los Angeles and the city of Detroit. So I mean, I do watch those videos on YouTube. I watched a video the other day, and they were on the east side. I recognized it immediately. And the one thing that Adolph has said, and we talked about this, yeah, you got a lot of dilapidated properties, but what Detroit has that's rich is there's a lot of land. The land bank, we've heard that the land bank, the houses that are being offered the land bank has diminished. Now they're trying to get rid of this land, this property. So Detroit is rich with land, and you know, as you said, this could be an opportunity. This is an opportunity for Detroit to get even better than what it is. I also want to recognize Charles Stiles by Miles Clothing Store. He said he paid his property taxes in the city of Detroit, and the Wayne County Treasurers applied the payments and created a foreclosure. He said he has the receipts, and now they're covering it up. They misapplied his payments. There is thousands of cases at the city that gets no exposure. It's as if the news and the podcasters are paid off or something. Well, we're not paid off, and so we're recording what you told us. This is the first time I've ever heard of this. I did talk about the drainage fees and that kind of thing, but Charles Stiles by Miles Clothing Store, thanks for bringing it to the attention to us at Detroit Black and White. And for those that are watching, we want you to continue to watch, tell people about it, hit that like button, and guess what, Charles? Now we're covering it, okay? All right. I want to address those. I want to also say good morning, Dave. Thank you for tuning in. I think Dave said Allan respects reporting and journalism. We see Coach T tell Allan I have my certificate introduction to journalism from University of Kenya. Okay. We also have, Queen B. She might as well be a co-host. Rita G said chicken. I don't know who she's calling the chicken. Early Story says Detroiters should be growing their own food. People go to these stores to see other residents. Timothy Scarbe says stop supporting places like that. Marlon Holt said Walmart must accept the EBT. I don't go to Walmart, Marlon Holt. I don't go to Walmart, and I don't go to Sam's Club. And I didn't go to Walmart before the blackout. Okay. Terry McCrimmon said, Allan, they know you're Jewish. He's comment right, exactly. So again, we want to thank everybody. Deborah G, she said she buys gas at the Sam's Club and Costco only. She don't go to those stores either.
I think we saw when the Chaldeans started taking over a lot of party stores and stuff like that, particularly in the 70s, late 60s, started in the 70s, saw a huge cultural gap. The Chaldeans didn't understand the black community. The black community didn't understand the Chaldeans. They were shooting. There were a lot of tension there. And eventually, this is the older generation, the Chaldeans started sponsoring baseball teams and trying to help out, trying to be more part of the community, trying to hire people from the community. But we have a new generation, and it seems that gap is there again, where,
I don't know if that gap ever really went away. I think it depends on where you are and what neighborhood you're in. I don't think that gap,
where they start doing things for the community now because something happened. Just like when the situation I brought up after I checked the guy in the liquor store, and all of a sudden they got two black women working behind the counter
selling lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Right. And probably Lucy's too. Not trying to be funny.
No,
probably Lucy's, guns, or whatever else. I mean, let's be clear. There are some stores that you can go to in the hood and you can buy whatever the heck you want to buy.
Mushroom.
Okay, contraband, anything.
Like mushroom gummy, the psilocybin, the mushrooms to get you high, gummies in the gas station.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, they want an update of the Naziah Harris case.
There is really no update, right? There's a lot of things swarming around the internet right now, right? And because I've been the lighthouse of information in regards to this case, a lot of people are coming to me for me to confirm or deny what's going on. I won't do either one of them, right? Because there's a lot of people that have now taking the things that I say and they twisting it to turn them into their own narratives and their own podcasts and all of this type of stuff, right?
Right.
Or then when I'm wrong, right, then I'm doing it for clout.
Right.
I mean, I'm doing it for clicks and views. So I'm just like, you know what? I'll just reserve my opinion, right? Because I'm tired of being right about it.
Right. So they go back to court in June in front of Judge Hathaway. They go back to court in June. I know that there is a heck of a lot of discovery. A lot of discovery.
I know.
And so this is going to be a very, very interesting case. It's taking a lot of twists and turns.
That's what I said.
The only reason I know is because I work in the system and I know
details that other people don't know. Right.
So, and not that I've looked at discovery or anything like that. I've had conversations. So, yes, they go back to court in June. So we'll see what happens. I think this is one of those situations where it's going to be a minute before it actually gets to trial. It's going to be that. That's what I mean.
The as far as onion is concerned, we didn't even peel back the layers yet. We just took off the stem.
Exactly.
With all of the stuff that we uncovered just now, like, so it's gonna get deep.
Exactly. Yeah. And I thought you wanted to ask something else. Was there something else?
I was going to ask you a legal question.
Yes.
The question is.
I don't give free legal advice, by the way.
But,
I don't. I mean, as much money as I own.
But I'm not asking me personally, but I'm curious. What we have with the Trump administration, we have the 9-0 Supreme Court ruling. What if, and this judge has started criminal contempt, what if he decided, I'm going to put Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, in jail until they bring back the guy from El Salvador? Can Trump intervene on a criminal contempt?
So, no, because we have three branches of government, right? We have the executive branch, we have the judiciary, and we have the legislature. So no, he cannot. Now,
I mean, if the judge tells the marshal,
wait a minute. If she gets places in jail, if they place her in jail, there may be something that he can do. He may say, "Hey, I'm going to commute her sentence as the president." He may be able to do that.
If it's a contempt and not a sentence, where it's just saying you,
or
you can hold them in civil.
When you hold them, civil, that's different. That's money. But if you're talking about criminal contempt, I think there's something that he could do about it. But they're not going to do anything. I know you in your head that you really wish that they would do something. They're not going to do anything.
I'm concerned
they're not going to
president,
do anything. They're not going to do anything.
I'm just concerned that what happens where we keep talking about a constitutional crisis, if the court rules, the highest court in the land rules, and it's ignored, what's the option for the judge?
So what I'm going to say to you is this. This is not the first time that we've been in a constitutional crisis, right?
When was the last time?
So I can't remember, I can't recall, but this is not the first time. I think that, you really want this guy brought back. I mean, it's wrong. The court has said, hey, bring him back. Let's see what happens. Maybe he will get back, maybe he won't. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well,
I mean,
he ain't coming back.
You don't think he's coming back? Why?
I just don't. And if he does come back, he has an issue dating back to 2021 where he beat up I don't know if she was his girlfriend at the time or wife. They could use that against him because he was an illegal immigrant and deport him anyway.
Well, he had legal status in Maryland. The question becomes, I mean, can they find? I think the whole issue is due process. If they have something where they can't deport him, then go through the due process.
Right.
So and I think I've been very clear about that I am a true believer in due process. And when we talk about due process, there's a different process when we talk about immigration issues than when we talk about the criminal court. Listen, it is.
But there is a due process.
There is a due process, absolutely, and I think that you must follow due process. And clearly, this administration says bump due process, bump the Supreme Court, listen, we're going to do what we want to do because the people told us they want us to do what we're doing. Basically, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, but I don't think all the people said ignore the Constitution. I think people had an agenda, cheaper prices, and the
Right,
war,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure people said fuck the Constitution.
Most people don't even understand the Constitution, Allan. I mean, there are people. Listen, I know for a fact there were people who just did not even understand. These are adults that there's three branches of government. So most people don't even understand that. So when people went in that ballot box, listen, when people went to cast their ballots, that was like, look, eggs cost $7. We want eggs. Listen, we were doing much better. The businessmen, people who own businesses said, listen, financially we were doing much better when he was in office. People were not thinking about the United States Constitution. To be honest with you, a lot of people are not even tripping about dude coming back here. People are tripping about this young lady and where is she? Why can't we find her? People are tripping about the scammers over there at the doggone gas station. I'm just telling you, that's what people are thinking about. What is right in front of them?
But
this is not my family. I'm not thinking about it. I'm just telling you that's how people are looking.
I'm going to tell you that people are tripping about different things. People can trip about more than one thing. And I know a lot of people who are tripping about the Supreme Court thing. And it's not to say you don't have to care about people in the community. People are missing. People are being harmed. We can care about.
I don't disagree with you, but what I'm saying is most people are not. When people go on that ballot box, that go past their ballot, that is not what they're thinking.
A lot of people.
Now because what has happened and what is going on, now people are thinking about it. But most people don't think about it. Most people are not intellectuals like yourself.
But we have like Bernie Sanders and AOC are getting 35,000 people at a stadium because they care about what's going on. So it is, there's all different people caring about different things.
Yep. So we're going to wrap it up. Have your final say. You have your final say. And then, Mark, you have yours.
I'll be real quick. I'll just say Pistons start the playoffs tonight. They haven't been in the playoffs in 6 years. And looking forward to watching them. They've been great this year.
And if anybody was wondering about an update on the Cates and Allison situation, the case went to trial on April 14th. It's expected to conclude on the 25th of this month, which is next Friday. And additionally, his bond was eventually reduced from $1 million to $175,000. So these cases are eerily similar. And I wish it was a verdict already because that could be a pretense for what we can expect for Carmelo Anthony.
I think I said this one on the show before. Be proactive as opposed to reactive. Stop letting problems snowball until they become a big problem that you can't stop. You see it when it's forming, nip it in the bud, or even prevent it from happening before it starts. No matter if it's a kid being abused at home or you just paying cash at the gas station, so you don't get scammed at the skimmer.
Right.
Prevent the snowflake from becoming a snowball.
There it is.
Right. So I'm going to say, listen, this is the greatest podcast on this side of the United States. We want to thank each and every last one of you for tuning in and making comments. Terry McCrimmon says there will be nationwide marches and demonstrations today in all states. Thanks for that.
Hart Plaza at noon today.
Oh, maybe that's why we see so many people downtown today.
Well, there's also the baseball game.
I want to say thank you to Bob for allowing us to do this show here at McShane's. Thank you so much, Mark, for coming down. We'll see you next month.
Yep.
Next month, we're going to talk about traffickers in some legislation they're trying to get passed in Michigan.
That's a big
It's closed now, right?
I believe so.
And massage parlors and the people who own it. So we're going to talk about that next month. I got a special guest that's coming on. So you guys will both be on the show. That'll be May 7th. And thank you, Kenneth Powell, Derek Henry, Dwayla Boyce, Joyce, McFoley. Thank you so much for tuning in. Charles Styles by Miles Clothing Stores, Bridget Huff, Dwayla Boyce, Queen Bee, Marlon Hope. Thank you so much, Marlon. for tuning back in. Miss Sheila, thank you. Deadline Detroit. Thank you all. We'll see you Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Peace.